welcome to another episode of the Interjections podcast. This is the show we call the Undiscovered Decade. You'll notice things look a little different. We came to the conclusion that it might be better for audio to actually have headphones, and so Jimmy and I ended up having to separate. And it ends up making more of a boxy tone, which I think. What's wrong, buddy?
You left me. I'm by myself. I'm so lonely.
I can hear you through my headphones in the other room. It's okay.
No, it's
if
not.
you need a hug, we can do this after we record.
They're growing up, kids.
We're doing the episode for October 92 this month, which, if I remember correctly from what Corey's going to talk about later, is we didn't really have a hidden gem. A lot of the movies were well known enough that they wouldn't exactly warrant. Yeah, this movie
was definitely buried.
Quite a bit hidden, and yeah, buried is the appropriate choice because the movie, sometimes called Pay Dirt, is also called There Goes the Neighborhood. It's about a hidden treasure buried in a suburb, and it's supposed to, I guess, invoke.
Hey, that's like what the show's about.
Yeah, it's literally the hidden gem of hidden gems, and it might want to stay buried. So.
Wow, you're already giving your opinion, huh?
Well, maybe.
Maybe
I
some of us liked it.
It's not the best film, but there are things
All
to
right,
like.
synopsis.
Yeah, so like I was saying, it sort of invokes It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, but on a much lower scale. Basically, a psychiatrist played by Jeff Daniels.
Whoa, psychologist. He makes that distinction in the movie.
He's
he didn't give out pills.
He hears that there's a buried treasure from one of the inmates who is dying of cancer or something. And so he immediately leaves. There are some shenanigans on the way where people think he's murdered because his apartment explodes, but there's some mishaps where no one was actually trying to kill him. And then either way, he decides to go to this New Jersey suburb, which that's the reason we chose this. It takes place in New Jersey.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, represent.
Did it look like Jersey?
Did it look like
Jersey?
I don't know where it filmed.
It was a solid Cherry Hill.
Yeah. So it takes place fairly close, kind of in between where Corey and Jeff live, which I just thought was funny when we chose all the films at the beginning of the year. So I'm going to look up where the location was because I never actually did that, where they filmed. But
well, since you brought up the beginning, I felt like that was very confusing and choppy.
Yeah.
About how his apartment exploded. I wasn't quite following what was going on because of the editing.
Well, it was because
they did a ad hoc explanation like after the apartment exploded when the prison inmates were like, yeah, no, this one dude that we know that's like busting us out, he could get a little violent and a little excessive. So like like the editing was weird, and then like the explanation about what happened kind of like came up after the fact.
I literally thought I had watched.
Yeah, like they tried to kill him.
I thought I watched like a work print, like there was a missing reel.
Right.
When that happened, I'm like, this is not connecting. This is all tangential. It doesn't.
Yeah, I think it was like one line that tried to explain like why his apartment exploded, and like even then, like even hearing that one line, it took me like a couple more minutes to like it swung back again. Like, oh yeah, the fourth guy? No, third guy involved in the heist.
Only three.
That busted the other two out. The one that's on meds and is crazy. Like, oh, he was the one that blew up the psychologist.
The Chazz Palminteri.
But it's like
that's the other guy, the Harris Yulin, Marvin.
Jonathan Banks. Oh no,
the third guy, Harris Yulin.
Harris Yulin.
Yeah, the guy that was like had the Brando thing going on.
Yeah,
but it was funny. Yeah, you know, these guys for lowbrow crooks, they seem to have been pretty well connected because like that bomb and everything went off the day he went home after finding out immediately about the.
Also,
what I got was that Marvin was already out. That's how he's able to get them with his van. So I think on his
Oh
way
yeah,
to
no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. But like, they would have had to get the information
oh,
to Marvin that this
fair
guy
enough. Yeah,
has this buried treasure, and we're gonna kill him and take his money.
Not only
yeah,
But
that,
you're
it's
right.
good that they didn't because they had the wrong address.
Yeah, that's Chazz Palminteri's fault.
Yeah.
yeah, not only that, did you feel like his decision to go look for the money was kind of rash and out of character, even though we've only known this character for about 10 minutes? But he seems so rational and professional up until then. He just becomes money hungry, like literally overnight. Overnight.
The only the
Well, I
only
think
It
problem
was
with that,
setting up that his girlfriend broke up with him over a voicemail, um,
Yeah.
maybe hinting that like that's when he starts cracking, and
They
like
could have shown
maybe
that
like
I
the
maybe.
mean,
first.
the only thing they
I think
give
the
us is
first
that
five
he
minutes are
doesn't like his
supposed to be.
job.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Okay,
also
yeah.
the first.
he's in line with this character in that like the prison inmate that's dying of cancer. He also asks him to like split half of it for his like old squeeze from back in the day. So like he's duty bound to like fulfill a dying man's wish and provide money to his former lover from many decades past. So like there's a bit agreed in there that like, hey, I'm gonna get a lot of money, but like the another part is like he does have a responsibility to fulfill a dying man's last wish.
The first 5 minutes are his last straw,
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically,
but
and
we
he's
didn't
just
see
like,
any other straws. I would have liked
Which
one
is
more
weird
straw.
because
right.
Jeff Daniels is pretty good at conveying madcap, but not in this. That's why I feel like this. I don't exactly know why this didn't get a wide release, but I feel like there was some
Well,
mangling in the editing room that happened with this, and the director probably wanted to pull their name off and put an Alan Smithy on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's looking for this treasure in the basement of a suburban house,
A divorced couple's house.
a divorced couple's
yeah,
house.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara and her ex-husband Jeremy Piven, characters name Jessie and Albert, I believe. Sorry,
Albert, yeah.
I'm trying to use the
it's
character
okay.
names more,
Yeah,
but
no one's gonna
and it's
remember.
just Jeremy Piven just constantly being stereotyped as a douchebag.
Yeah. Like when like is there ever a moment where he breaks that like trope of that like role
In
that he's
life,
typecast into? Yeah,
In
like
life?
it's
No, that's who
yeah,
he is.
like
100%.
He's Ari Gold in everything. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, the first scene they introduce him in, he has a chainsaw taking it to the furniture. I'm like, okay, this escalated quickly into slapstick.
yeah.
yeah.
But
They
then you've
seem
got
Some
like,
people are grounded, some people aren't. It's like
yeah, they
nobody's on
they
the same
seem
tone.
they want to have the comedy come from the insanity of the suburbs, but it's so mundane there that you're not really getting anything. There's two disparate tones happening with, the Rhea
Right.
Perlman and the
Like,
Dabney Coleman characters. They're peeping on people.
yeah,
Isn't that funny? But then you have the guy with the chainsaw. Slapstick doesn't really work. There's
right. And
too
then
much of
Hector
a difference.
Elizondo is very even keeled. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Luckily, we stick with him and Judith Ivey, who plays his wife, for the
right.
most out of the couples in the town. Because I actually liked Hector Elizondo. His character turned out to be one of the more
yeah.
interesting.
He always anchors things.
Yeah. When
It's
we
weird to see
discover
that
that he has,
he's the mellow one, and Jonathan Banks is the one that's kind of like kookier.
yeah,
I'm not used to seeing
yeah,
Jonathan Banks like this.
it is kind of cool seeing both of them a bit younger and playing different roles like than
Yeah.
they usually do.
Hmm.
Um, Pretty much, we don't have to talk about more plot stuff, but pretty much just so you know, in case you didn't see it and you're listening to us for some weird reason about this film of all things, uh, they end up digging in a couple different houses. Like we said, Chazz Palminteri picked the wrong house, so then they're digging two different ways and not really realizing that they're both going for the same thing. So you just get to see Catherine O'Hara working with Jeff Daniels, what that's like, and then the three inmates with Elizondo and Ivy trying to dig through their actual basement floor,
Yeah.
and other things get in their way. Nothing else really happens. We
Oh,
just
you know
discover
what?
the money, or we don't. and
Yeah, bunch of kooky shenanigans.
Speaking of the tone of the comedy, there is a character trait in this that could have gone really queasy at one point. Do you guys
ooh,
remember the realtor?
Oh
oh
yeah, the realtor.
Yeah.
yeah,
He's a sex
Yeah.
addict.
um,
And at one point, he's like starting to grope Mary Gross. And I'm like, okay, now we're getting into borderline like sexual molestation. But then she's cool with it. So therefore, it's okay that he does that.
So
yeah,
is
that
it
was
like he
90s
does?
comedy.
Is it like he knows
Yeah.
how to vibe check a chick and is like, I know she's into this, and then like that's why he's been getting away with it for
well,
so long? Because like,
I don't
he
know.
seems surprised that she was into it.
Yeah,
So
that's what's creepy
uh,
about.
they're hinting that he always tries to hit on everyone,
Yeah, because
and
they've established that, and then Dabney Coleman has his suspicions with him and Rhea Perlman and everything.
Catherine
Which
O'Hara's
Dabney
always
Coleman's
turning him down.
wasted in this.
Yeah, there's no reason for that to have been him.
It's a thankless role. In fact, most of the neighbor characters are thankless in this. They could have been excised. Wouldn't be much of a difference. Especially the ones whose basements aren't being dug into. Like, what do we need them
Right.
for?
Yeah. I mean, the only
Well,
reason we
no,
have
they're the
the peepers, I guess, is so that the
yeah.
daughter can discover what happens. But even that feels like a Deus Ex Machina.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
they
you
could
don't need the
access.
Yeah.
realtor and his storyline. You don't need Rhea Perlman and her storyline.
I think the realtor was just provided like because they needed some reason for uh
Someone to show up.
you know well yeah
I think the
someone to show up
filter actually.
unexpectedly because it's like you can't even usually expect that like he was there to make although like it seemed to make Dabney Coleman jealous
Hmm.
like just as like a red herring
Yeah.
almost but there was no need for that anyway because
No.
Dabney Coleman's character like wouldn't care.
True.
Yeah, I'm starting to think as you're saying this, one interesting thing they could have done was have an actual pool company come by. Like they're hiding as the pool company, right? Or the
a
landscaping.
lawn care service.
Right. So maybe have an actual lawn care service show up, like Catherine Hara was going to get a lawn care service because she's trying to sell her home. So then everyone's like, there's the confusion with that. That might be better than the realtor. But it feels like everyone sat down in a room and was like, what could we do to interfere with this situation?
Yeah, we need
And
complications, guys. We need complications.
Yeah, it's like, but gotta remember, it's the suburbs, so it can't be entirely exciting.
See, they
right.
didn't do a good job
Wacky
with that
suburban
either.
comedy.
They didn't do a good job with that either. Like they could have done like a David Lynchian satire on the suburbs and how like dysfunctional it is under the surface, but they didn't do
Well, the
that.
one thing they go into is that Hector Elizondo has the cache full of guns in his basement. So that's the subversion of the
Yeah,
suburban lifestyle.
Yeah,
If they had
because really, it turns out
everyone
he's a gun
that
runner.
was
All of a sudden,
that was my
go ahead.
favorite part of the movie. The most satisfying part of the movie was Hector
Yeah.
Elizondo's turn when
Oh
he
yeah,
opens up this safe room full of, contraband weapons and things. And it was like, oh, okay. And then he just takes over the operation after
yeah.
being held
No,
hostage in his own basement.
he just goes like, guys. I could turn your what was it like 8 million? The money was or something like that. It's like I could turn that from 8 million to 35 million like that, and then just opens up this like hidden door and is like, hey, I'm a gun runner.
Yeah.
What it
Yeah.
is.
That's what I mean. Like if everyone in the actual suburbs is worse than the criminals, that's funny. That's what
Yeah.
they
sure,
could have done.
but they didn't go far
But
enough with it.
they only did it with Elizondo. So
Yeah,
Catherine
I
Harris
actually
the
thought
supposed to be the straight woman, so she's supposed to be normal. The only normal one in the whole group.
It was just
I
a
actually
bunch of rich people going after more money.
I thought
Yeah.
Chazz Palminteri was the funniest out of anybody here. Honestly,
Yeah.
I thought he elicited the most laughs,
I think Jimmy and I
especially
agree.
when he's lecturing the kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah,
Which apparently that take took like they had to do 18 different takes because Chaz couldn't stop laughing whenever they broke the kids' glasses.
Oh my god.
And it
I
got to
bet-
the point where they had to pay a PA to be like, "Hey, can we just break your glasses for this take?"
Oh my
uh,
god.
Yeah.
I wonder if he was laughing because like he just had flashbacks from when he was a kid and he was beating up kids for lunch money.
It's like, this is just like the good old
Yeah,
days.
just like the good old
Back
days.
when I was in the Bronx.
Yeah. You know,
I though broken at least 21 glasses.
So I'd say the best people in this were Palminteri, Elizondo, and maybe Jonathan Banks. I think Jonathan Banks, though, was more like, oh, it's kind of remarkable that he was doing something interesting and not quite in character from
Well, you know
current
what?
days.
He did have. I was gonna say he did do a lot of stuff. I mean, people know him now as Mike from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but he was a big character actor in the '80s and '90s. Like he's in Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours.
Yeah, I don't
I
remember
mean,
him from those, though, so I wonder if
I
I have to
know,
go
but
back and see them.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he was more of a. Mm, it's weird because he seemed kind of diminutive back then, so now he seems more like a tough guy now. It's weird.
Well, I think he didn't really get thick, but I think he just got like, I don't know, his shoulders got broader or something.
Yeah,
He put
I
on
guess.
Well,
some
I
weight,
think like I think
especially
he had this weird because like his nickname in the movie boy wasn't his nickname in the movie was like Pretty Boy or something like that.
yeah,
It was like
Mike,
Or
handsome Harry.
Handsome
Oh
Harry,
wow.
yeah, something like that.
handsome
Like
Hank.
I think what it is like back in the day, like he was like this like fit, strong looking dude, but like he had still like a handsome vibe about him. So like he looks gruff, but like also handsome at the same time. So like I guess like getting like a casting was a bit difficult because like he couldn't fit in the handsome side or the gruff side too well. But now that he's gotten older, is like and put on that old man weight and like just looks weathered. So like he fits the gruff look now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he just grew into Mike, and our sense of Mike is Jonathan Banks. So if they'd been a different actor, maybe he's doing something else, and we're
Yeah.
not, falling in love with him. So yeah, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg, the Mike or the Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
So with his performance, though, I think it really is a hallmark to getting captivated into any part of the film because I think his chemistry with Judith Ivey is one of my favorite parts. And I don't know if that's a testament to Jonathan Banks or Judith Ivey. Either way,
Or
I
both.
think
I think it's
yeah,
a
I think every
performance
time we
without
went to that
material.
house, it was better. I didn't really care about Jeff Daniels after the first half hour because he's just kind of sad, and so is Catherine O'Hara.
I feel like
And
he just becomes a buffoon. Like I felt like
mm-hmm.
he could have maybe like he could have talked her into it a little bit better, but he's like literally just breaking in and then just being like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm the guy that broke into your house the other day. Do you remember me?"
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta
you could
dig.
have done this a little more smoothly. Obviously, you're a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever it is. You could have
Yeah,
like maybe had a bit of a silver tongue, but apparently not.
That's why he's a
yeah. And
therapist for
then the
inmates.
only
I
shenanigans
didn't
they get into are
I didn't think they had much
sit on the
chemistry
couch.
either.
Yeah, and they're trying to play into that, and it doesn't work at
Right.
all.
Like she's trying to use him to get back at the Jeremy Piven character at one point. And I was like, rugged Jeff Daniels, I'm not buying that.
Yeah,
He's like shirtless and dungarees, and I'm like,
yeah.
no.
I mean, what are we, dumb and dumber?
Just fly away home with that one.
Uh,
Anyway, yeah, it was weird though because you're right. Jeff Daniels just kind of like goes off the deep end, you know, and decides to follow this prisoner that he's been friends with for however long,
Which like
and is like,
does
I'm done with my
yeah, I'm done with
done
being
with my.
responsible. Fuck it.
yeah.
Um, it just seems like he made a huge leap.
You know what they could have done? It felt like at first because he has that round table or the circle to discuss things with the prisoners about their feelings
Yeah.
and everything. They could have done a play on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest where he's actually helping them and then they work together or
You
they
know
find
what?
out together about breaking out and like at first you think okay these people inside are all normal and he is not, he's cracked already, and then we see him go even further and maybe they help him get better, maybe he helps them when they escape. Like there should have been more of a relationship between them, and they just are never together.
What if
So
his girlfriend breaks up with him, they have a kid together, and he finds out that he's like, I don't know, he's the one that has cancer, so he
okay,
needs the money to give to his kid before he passes away. Something, I don't know. It would have been a better motivation than him just being like, oh yeah, well, it sounds good to me.
could
I
use
need
money.
money.
My
Yeah,
job pays nothing.
you know what I mean. I don't. I just
Yeah,
didn't think there was a strong enough motivator for him to just cast aside all of his civility just so he could go do this.
He's just sick of his
right.
life.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's just like he wasn't a very good psychologist either. Like the way that he treats Catherine O'Hara going in, I'm like, really? Like,
That's what I mean. He
even
could have
for
persuaded her. If he was a good psychologist, he could have persuaded her and manipulated her, and he didn't.
he did manipulate her because he was like, he started off as an asshole and then slowly was like, oh no, I'm really nice. And then by the end of the movie, they're together. I'm like,
Yeah, but she was
I don't.
desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, desperate and
According to the
So
lonely,
was
movie.
he, I guess.
and she's a literal
He had also
gold
just
digger now.
broken up with someone.
Because
Yeah. Ugh.
It's crazy to think
yeah,
that she had this and Home Alone 2 come out the same year.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
this was just her side project.
An heir and a spare, as they say.
Yeah.
I can kind of
Yeah,
You need a
no,
tell.
cash cow and a Christmas movie.
there's a million ways we could have improved this film. I feel like the filmmakers just might not have done enough research on the different things they wanted to touch upon, like psychology, suburbia, criminals, rehabilitation, what a motivation would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a proper heist movie.
Yeah, the pacing. I think the hidden gem aspect of this film is in the performances, and if you like people like Jonathan Banks, you want to see a very early Chazz Palminteri. You're a huge Hector Elizondo fan.
Right.
Judith Ivey has a possible Oscar nomination coming out this year, so I think it's appropriate we're actually talking about it. She's in that movie Women Talking, and they're
Oh,
saying all of them are good, and she hasn't done a big movie in a long time, so it's kind of could be a comeback for her of all things, and in a dramatic way. So
yeah.
it's neat to see like where she came from if you wanted to, um, but it's not exactly a good film.
No,
So
it's a lot of
the
like
usual the
it's a lot
usual
of half
gem
baked.
aspect isn't.
It's half baked ideas that aren't. This needed a few more drafts
Mm-hmm.
in order to like fully fulfill most of those promises that it tries to deliver at the beginning, but it's trying to be a screwball comedy, then it tries to be a dramedy, then it tries to be a thriller. It's not quite sure what it wants to do.
Yeah,
Too many things
action
at
at the
once.
end.
Caper.
Yeah,
And then on a long enough timeline, everything becomes Home Alone. Some burglar gets shot in the ass with an arrow.
And Catherine O'Hara just happens to be there too.
Uh huh.
Good thing John Candy
all right.
wasn't in it.
Yeah,
Ugh.
right. He
All
might have
right. So what do
improved it.
we?
I'd give it a solid C because there are moments that were sporadically funny, but like I said, this just feels like they bit off more than they could chew, and a lot of the subplots and themes didn't come to fruition. And it's poorly edited. On top of that, it's one of the worst edited movies I've seen of the '90s for sure.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I would give it if this was a TV movie, it would have gotten a B plus. But since it's not, it's getting a C.
There we go.
I
I'm
think
gonna go with
I'm
this.
also what? C.
Yeah. So wait, C yes,
I
yes
just
yes to my C or
C.
no?
Oh, yeah.
C C
It was
C C.
C for Cuban contraband.
I'm
No,
gonna
it
go with C
was
too. I think we all agree.
yeah.
I was trying to let you go, but
Did we break even?
That's
yeah,
crazy. I don't think we've all given the same grade.
I mean it has to happen when it's this low. 4 C's.
Yeah. I mean, at least it didn't get
It's
like
this.
we didn't give it the D or an F, so it was not complete failure.
Actually,
Just
this isn't
I
going
feel
to be
like
the
we
first
never did.
time. This isn't going to be the first time because next month it's going to be all A's.
But the like we've all said, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just not a great movie. It
Yeah.
was
It
it
was
was fun.
aggressively mediocre.
By 1992 standards, it was a romp.
Right.
But watching this 30 years later,
Yeah.
it's a bit
Did we ever go into why this
tones
had
are a bit mixed.
release date trouble?
I never
Like, why
found
did-
any reason.
Or why they changed the title.
It says
I couldn't
it,
too.
find any
in
information
foreign
on that.
countries it was pay dirt.
Yeah, I mean that's a simpler title.
Also, I think
mean,
maybe
there
that's
goes-
just an American phrase that they maybe not
Right.
use in other countries.
Yeah.
I feel like There Goes the Neighborhood was meant to imply, okay, the suburban antics. So they or suburban antics, and they wanted to have that be the tone, but they never actually utilized that. And so pay dirt makes more sense because that's what it's actually about. You're digging in people's houses. So
Right.
because there's
Yeah,
no
no,
tone,
with the
they just don't
with
know
There
what to
Goes the
do.
Neighborhood, I expected a lot more like family drama, but like
Mm-hmm.
a funny family drama. Not like Pay Dirt would have paid off. Pay Dirt would have paid off.
Yeah.
No, but I think maybe I
Oh,
didn't
well.
really pay attention to the logos at the beginning, but I feel like maybe this was a movie where like the production company went bankrupt or something. The distributor went
Maybe.
bankrupt, and that's why it went. Oh, and they were like, "We'll just release it in like limited theaters and try to recoup something." I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no other reason why a movie with back then. Now things go to streaming more often, or like direct to
Mhm.
DVD or get limited releases. But with that cast back then, I don't see why this would have not gotten a wide release.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that's why it came out at all, because they still had to push it out, maybe contractually for some of the actors.
See, now the production company is Kings Road Entertainment. I'd never heard of it.
Oof. I've heard of that. It's not a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they made a lot of straight to video things that I watched when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also wondering if, hang on, historical posturing here. Ah, no, never mind.
What were you thinking?
Also,
Nothing.
never released on DVD.
Interesting. So we can't.
Oh,
have it
so
on
I wouldn't have been able
shelves?
to get it from the library
Oh.
anyway.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, that was the other thing I was surprised about. We watched it in full screen. It was like, what?
Yeah.
It only was available in full screen.
I wonder if they only shot it in full screen.
Mm.
Like if they actually just shot it in 4:3.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, no. When we watched it
Anyway.
on our TV, I thought like legit it was like like the quality was like the film quality looked just so wonky. Despite the fact that I forgot like we have like a super HD TV, and like the frame rate didn't quite match up the way that the settings were. So it just looked weird, and I thought like it was like, is this some cheap garbage?
You're right.
Well, that's, I guess, the legacy of There Goes the Neighborhood. It's some cheap garbage.
Yeah.
there goes